All right, here it is. Here it is. Finally, they're gonna drop something. So I got the notification a couple minutes ago. I actually had forgotten that they've been so quiet over the past couple weeks that I forgot that I was on their newsletter. I've unsubscribed from all their Instagrams, their YouTube channels, everything else, but I forgot about the newsletter because I don't really keep up with email lists. But anywho, it's been a couple weeks. Dude, we can rehash everything that went on. Lucas left the company. There were some images, some cartoon images sent. There was Lucas leaving the company. Yada, yada, yada. Go back and look at it all. It's old news at this point. You should know what's going on if you care about the company. With that being said, you had Brandon Wombat, whatever, come on YouTube with Focus Trip, talked about some things, didn't really convince anybody, so this is like really the third statement that they've come out with. I've only watched it once. This is just my initial thoughts on it because truthfully it was kind of long, and this is the type of video that I'd have to watch like 2 or 3 times to really like put the pieces together and like accurately figure it out. But this is going to be my initial impression, just like off the cuff. I don't have all the facts right. Dude, it's been like 3-4 weeks now, and it seems like this is in reaction to Lucas's statement, just kind of trying to rebuttal it. And I'll be honest with you, it was a much better statement than they have previously made. I guess it kind of gives some more perspective into where they were at, kind of shed some light on, like, how they were thinking. Some of it's probably, true and transparent, but at the end of the day, I mean, dude, Isaac and David are both older. They had to have had some idea that they were taking their brother's company. I just can't, in any way, shape, or form, believe that at their age, they didn't have an idea that they were taking a percentage ownership of the company when they were getting what they were getting. I understand, like, again, I'd have to go back, but like I believe it was David and dude. It gets confusing because there's 2 Davids, but whatever. There was 2 people that came in initially, and dude, in my opinion, like they were old enough to understand that, like, hey man, if I get a combined 51% share, we own the company, and Lucas doesn't. That just makes sense to me. I don't know how you wouldn't know that when you were their age, or at least have an idea that that was what was happening. You may not know for certain that that means you could, essentially steal the company, but you had an idea of like what was going. You had to have. I mean, like they're just not that naive at that age, like, or at least I don't think. I will say that this sheds more light on the situation, and dude, they always say that there's 3 sides to a story, right? Like, there's one side, party A side, party B side, and then there's the truth. I think this sheds more light into, like, there may have been some more complex things going on in the background. Nobody was all right and nobody was all wrong, for sure. But dude, it just ultimately leads to the fact that it was a sad situation. I think that they know that they dropped the ball a little bit. I think they know that they mishandled some things. And dude, now Lucas is gone from the company for it. I do not look. I don't agree with them, but I do understand, and I think it's important to understand that these 4 people that are sitting here are not speaking as Lucas's brother, I don't think. Or these 2. And then these 2 over here. Like, the 2, David and Isaac, they're not, as they sit here, they're not looking at this from like, hey, Lucas is my brother. They're looking at it from, we are members of an ownership of a company. We're looking out for employees. We're looking out for a business. We're looking out for yada, yada, yada. And, dude, I understand that, like, dude, it's why you don't do business with your family. Like, because at some point, this kind of stuff's going to happen, and you're going to have to choose a business or family. And, dude, they're both extremely important. And, like, on one hand, the righteous side of me wants to say, like, oh, dude, you should have totally, like, it's not, you need to be talking to this like it's your brother, like you did him wrong, like, but at the same time, like, this does give some perspective on, like, they were operating for what was best for a company and what was best for all the employees. And, like, I'm not going to pretend to say that, like, it's got to be nerve-wracking and hard to look. I forget how many employees they had. Call it 100. Like, you control the destiny of pay for 100 employees and their families to this one brother. Not saying it's right. They go way back in time. They should have handled the situation with Lucas better. They should have backed their brother. They should have. I'm talking about post situation, Lucas leaving and where they're at now, and then approaching it from a company standpoint. I understand. Lucas is already gone. They have to do what they can to protect their investment here. They have to do what they can to try to protect the company. They have to try to right the ship on all these employees that they have. Like, I'm just saying that, like, I understand why they're approaching it the way they are after the fact. Now, with that being said, I still am on Lucas's side 100% with all the things that transpired, at least initially. I haven't had time to, like, dig through all these timelines and, like, all these statements and, like, add up the history and, like, what makes sense, what doesn't stand out. Like, again, I think the more input, the more information is just going to muddy the water. And, like, you've got Lucas's side. Not only do you have an A and a B side, but now you've got Lucas's side, 4 of these people's side, and then the truth. It's starting to get really murky. With that being said, though, still on Lucas's side. He built the company, and ultimately I just cannot fathom that somebody that is as old as his brothers, and then this David Nour guy didn't know when they were taking agreements that they didn't know what was happening to some degree, to where at least if they had to have had a light bulb moment if they didn't outright know what was happening. Oh man, we're about to really come across something good here. Don't say a word. Let it happen. I refuse to believe, like, somebody could be that naive at that age. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. Dude, it's getting spicy. I would fully expect that this is going to blow up on the internet. Everybody's going to start coming down. I'm still not buying anything else from T-Rex. I'm still on Lucas's side. I still think that Lucas handled the things that were done to him appropriately. Maybe not 100%. Everything was, you know, he was faultless. These guys were all wrong. They handled it wrong. I'm not saying that, but, like, ultimately I'm on Lucas's side. It was his company. He got wronged, in my opinion. The company, the way the agreements initially took when he brought people on, it seems like that had to have been shady to some level. He lost ownership of the company. They knew. I mean, they had to have, right? Like, there had to be something in their head that said, like, bro, again, even if they didn't know for certain what the ramifications were, they had to have had an idea that, like, man, we now own more percentage than he does. And for me, that's good. Like, they had to have known that. Again, maybe I'm wrong, but it's a perfect example of why you never do business with family. It's just a bad idea. It muddies the waters too much, and eventually you're going to have to make a hard choice that no choice is going to be the right choice. Somebody's going to get hurt in the end, and it's either going to be your business or your family. Just remove that element and make it about business, in my opinion. With that being said, dude, I'm still on Lucas's side, still not buying anything from T-Rex at this point. I'm sure Lucas is going to come out with some more things to say about this, and, dude, the reality is that the water is muddy. I'd like to know your thoughts down in the comment if you like these kind of videos, just kind of talking about what's happening, that kind of stuff. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. See if this changed your perspective at all. I'm going to have to watch it at least a couple, honestly, probably like 2 more times and like really piece it out if I really want to understand what they're saying and what lines up and what goes against what Lucas said and what doesn't make sense, yada, yada, yada. Still 100% on board with Lucas right now. Not buying anything else for T-Rex. Once I have a chance to dig deep through this, maybe my perspective changes a little bit, but because it does seem like they dropped a lot of information and a lot of paperwork that honestly I just haven't read yet. So we'll see. Still Team Lucas right now. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Drop a like, subscribe, and let me know what you think. Unbound Citizen out.